Hello, this is Sergeant Dan with After Action Review, and today we're going to go ahead and discuss the indie game of the year, the 2dev team from Acid Nerve, The Bird with the Sword, Death's Door. I know I seem a little bit overzealous, this time talking about this pretty much Zelda Dark Souls hybrid. But this game has won a special place in my heart, and I'm so happy to see that anyone on any platform will soon be able to experience the gift of this game. So on November 23rd, this game will actually be spread through all platforms: PlayStation, Switch, Xbox, and PC. I'll be a little bit happy about testing this video game again on the Switch because I should be getting the OLED before this game arrives. Some background about the story. You are a crow, but not just an ordinary crow. You've been given the powers of the Grim Reaper, and the only way you get to stay the Grim Reaper and to stay immortal is if you bring back the assigned soul through the door that you have been given. So it is either you complete your assignment and retrieve the soul and live out forever, or get stuck on the mortal realm, aging and slowly dying like everything else on the planet. While on your job to retrieve one of these souls, your soul has been stolen. And now your clock is slowly ticking for you to go ahead and retrieve it. Unfortunately, your soul was fed to a large, ominous door. And the only way to break this lock is to grab the 3 most powerful souls of the oldest beings on the planet to hopefully rupture this fabric and soul society, whatever you want to call it, to retrieve yours and go back to living your immortal life. So to get your soul back, you're going to have to use every weapon in your arsenal. You start off with your normal sword, but can find an umbrella early on. Yes, I said umbrella. You have a pair of daggers, a massive hammer, and a large claymore 2-handed sword, all with varying speeds and damage ratings. This isn't the complete list of tools you'll be using to achieve this goal. You have a number of magical abilities. These abilities themselves: the fireball, the bow and arrow. Yes, the bow and arrow is magical in this game. An explosive ball, and the hook shot. Just trying to get that Zelda theme, aren't you? I don't call the fireball or the explosive ball by their actual names. I switched it up a little bit. The fireball would be the Kamehameha, and the giant explosive ball, well, it's called the spirit ball. Again, I digress. Along with all these tools that you'll be using, you also have statistics, or stats in a way. They can be upgraded progressively throughout the game by using souls. These will be strength, which will increase your damage, and also the reach of your weapon that you are swinging. Dexterity, that will lessen the time between your melee springs, and also increase the speed at which rate your attacks will charge. You also have haste, which will allow you to run faster, your dodge time to be recharging faster, and your performance of the dodge to also be done faster. And then finally magic. This will just increase the damage of your overall spells. All of these stats have a total of 5 levels, which can be upgraded, as I said before, with souls. With all of them being a different varying number of souls needed, I believe the highest would be 2,000. On top of those, you also have a life and magic bar, which in Zelda-like fashion will be needing 4 different items to upgrade those bars. These start at a number of 4 and increase to a number of 6. So you have 8 items per bar to grab an extra 1 hit or 1 spell. Most enemies in the game actually will only hit you for 1 bar of health, so at the beginning of the game you can only take 4 hits. At the end of the game, if you find all these items that increase your health, you can take a max number of 6 hits. Upon dying, you will re-enter the world through one of the doors that you came from when you leave the Death Realm. I.e., this is another good example of a Dark Souls-like campfire. The enemies per area really can vary. You have your genetic enemies in all locations, but then all of these boss dungeons, these special areas that have unique environments, also have their own very unique enemies. Not only does this increase the number of attacks you have to avoid, but it also increases the number of variety that you encounter, which I do appreciate the uniqueness per area that all these bosses and mini enemies and mini bosses all provide. With these ever-changing phases on these boss fights, you can expect the game to get more challenging as the fight continues on, or just different. One fight in particular I can remember really wasn't tougher, it was different. The boss fight decided to grow larger. Not more difficult though. Ribbit. But now let's go ahead and get on to the visuals, which were a surprise in more than one aspect. Well, more than what you might think, but at the same time, not exactly what you might think that I'm talking about. Because the game is beautiful. The shadows on the moving enemies, the backgrounds, the ever-changing environments, and the customization, i.e. the uniqueness of each dungeon or boss living area. The thing that really surprises me in this game, on its visual details, is the reflections. I'm not entirely sure because it's not advertised to be ray traced, and I can't seem to find anywhere that's spatial. So the game's reflections are super impressive, but I don't know what exactly they're coming from. Keynote on reflections. Go ahead and pay attention closely to these because they're going to show you something unique to allow you to find things. If you're going to pay attention to it, just make sure you pay a little bit more attention to reflections. They can be really helpful. Next up, the audio. The audio of a game will be very descriptive of scenes. Not just combat audio, walking audio, talking audio. I'm talking about music atmosphere. The audio can be very important for boss introduction, change in atmosphere, i.e. if you're just walking along, fighting normal guys, cool, awesome, neat little music. Then it decides to turn up the beat, change it up a little bit, and enemies start portaling in, and you got a real fight on your hands. And then the transition between these phases is so seamless, it just feels like you're just continuing on with what you were doing. You can be completely distracted walking through the forest, minding your own business, not knowing what's going to happen next, and be lost in exploration, then bam, you're right into a fight. But not only this, I do love these seamless transitions between these introductions for the bosses and then straight into action. It's just like it zooms in, gets you your strong chorus, then pulls right out. There's no cutscenes at all. There's no cutscenes at all. There's no change in loading screens or anything. It's just bam, bam, you're right back into the action. A lot of this music and the atmosphere it produces actually reminds me a lot of another indie game I played last year called Windbound. But I could keep talking about this game forever, but I honestly don't want to bore you. This game, as it is, I can confidently say is going to be my indie game 10 out of 10 this year. It's going to be my indie game of the year, let alone it could just be my game of the year. But what I would like to do right now, actually, is give away a couple copies of this game. I'm not too exactly how I want to go ahead and proceed with this. Possibly something with comment section. I have to ultimately decide. It may be off of Twitter after this video is released, but I want to go ahead and give away a couple copies of this game because I'm so adamant in this game being great. I want people to experience it. Let me know in the comment section down below how you would like to do this. Most likely it will be on my Twitter, so I will leave the links down below as well. Thank you all for watching. Hope that you joined the giveaway.